Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I love having this dear friend of mine on the show. It's always amazing when Michelle Sperzel comes on the show. She'll pronounce her name better than me, but I do give it a good whirl every single time. I've only known her for 1,000 years. Michelle is the executive director of Harbor House of Central Florida. What an amazing organization. I'll let her tell you about it. And they have their big fundraiser coming up, Purple Door Luncheon on October 12th. And so I want to get the word out on that. And I want you all to hear the absolutely critical services that Michelle and her team provide at Harbor House of Central Florida. Welcome back, Michelle. How are you today?
I'm good, Ted. Thank you very much for having me back on your show. It's wonderful to see you.
Always wonderful to see you. I forgot the purple today. I think there's purple somewhere in here. But there is purple surrounding us. Yes, purple is my favorite. So, all right. So let's talk about Harbor House of Central Florida. But before we do, tell them a little bit about you. You know, they love the journey story. My audience does. So, how did you get from point A to point B?
Well, I am Michelle Sperzel. You say my name incredibly well. I'm the girl with the rhyming name. And I've been here in the nonprofit sector for the majority of my career. And I've been in Orlando. It's going to be 6 years in January, which I cannot believe. That's awesome. It's been a great journey. I'm excited that this is my home. And I'm originally from Wisconsin. So yes, I am a cheesehead and I am proud of it. And enjoying watching my football on Sunday when I'm able to. So it's a little bit different about me. I normally don't talk about.
I love that. No, a cheesehead. That's all I'm going to think about now.
It's raining. Like we had one, and it's great when it's raining.
Did you really? I love it. I love it. All right. So tell us, how did you get to Harbor House?
So I started doing domestic violence work when I was living up in the Panhandle of Florida, in Destin, Florida. And so I was running a domestic violence center there called Shelter House. And really, when I got into that work, I realized that doing domestic violence work and being an advocate and really helping survivors is what I should be doing. I was there for 7 years, left there and went back to the Midwest. And I lived in Chicago for a while. And after that, I was working at an after-school program for girls. And it was in inner city Chicago, a lot of girls who are at risk, who had lost friends and family members, brothers, specifically to gang violence. And so when we were having conversations, to me, it made sense that so much of what the girls are experiencing and their brothers were experiencing was tied to domestic violence and violence in the home. And so I missed the domestic violence work. And I received a phone call after coming to Florida for a visit. And someone said, "Do you want to move back to Florida?" And I said, "Absolutely," not thinking it would be as soon as it was. And I ended up landing here at Harbor House. And it's been an amazing journey. It's been wonderful seeing how supportive the Central Florida community is, specifically Orange County, the city of Orlando, and what we have here as far as being able to grow and offer services. And so I just know that even Harbor House, who she was when I first showed up as an organization and who she continues to grow into, we're going to just be helping more and more people. And part of that is because of such a supportive community where people acknowledge that violence happens in the home, and people acknowledge that you can talk about it and that we are supposed to talk about it, because that's how we are able to hold abusers accountable and make it safe for survivors to come forward.
It's it's near and dear to my heart because I am a childhood survivor of domestic violence and child abuse. And so I know the pain of that. And I also know how it impacts the kids, the domestic violence, the person who is having that violence against them, whether it's the children, the mom, it doesn't matter, or dad, I guess, because that's also become more prevalent, which we can talk a little bit about. But I feel like the services weren't around back in the Stone Age when I was growing up in it. And what a beautiful thing it would have been to have a place to go to have that support in the community, because it wasn't always a supported kind of advocacy at all. It was brushed under the carpet. It was not acknowledged like it is now. Even the police stations were not accepting of it. And so the amount of work that organizations like Harbor House of Central Florida have done is just so impactful in a way that you don't know if you have not been in a household where there's domestic violence. So kudos to you and your team and Harbor House for all of the amazing work they do. I know that you are changing lives in a positive way and saving lives. So let's talk about Harbor House itself. Give them a little 411 on the services that you all provide.
So we are the Certified Domestic Violence Center that is here in Orange County. So we have what people think of as a domestic violence hotline where someone can call and talk to an advocate about what it is that they're experiencing or how they may need help, or a friend or a family member that they want to be able to help. We have an emergency shelter, which is another thing that a lot of people think of as people who need to pack up and leave and come in. And we do have an emergency shelter. It's quite large. We have 120 beds in our emergency shelter. During hurricane, we had 85 people living with us during the hurricane. And so that's the other piece, is we don't close for anything. We didn't close for COVID. We're not going to close for a hurricane, because we know that survivors need our help 24/7. And even during Hurricane Ivan, our hotline went down, but at the same point in time, it was immediately transferred to a statewide hotline. And that's what's so important, is that we want to make sure that we're there and available for people 24/7. On our campus, which is quite large, we also have our kennel for our pets. And so people can come in with their animals. We have cats and dogs, and we had some bunnies that were born during the hurricane. We had a pregnant bunny, and she gave birth.
Wow.
And we also have 7 apartments on site. And so people can move out of the emergency shelter, and they would move into one of our other apartment complexes that we have on site. And that's just a transformational program, because we can help somebody who's in crisis in our crisis center, which is our shelter, but to stay with someone for a longer period of time and help them work through a lot of what to them and to other people might be insurmountable obstacles. When you're with someone for a longer period of time, you can do all those different things together. And so that's just a little bit about what we have on our campus. We also have a childcare program that's on our campus. In the community, we have offices within the courthouse. We have four attorneys, and we also have advocates that will help out with injunctions. They might be for dating violence, for stalking, domestic violence. And so we will help people file injunctions. Our attorneys will give legal advice as well. And they'll also represent individuals for getting an injunction. For some people, that's a restraining order. Depends on where you are in the United States, what it's called. And it's been another amazing program. We serve the majority of men through our court program. We are helping men as well in our emergency shelter, but where we're looking statistically, that's where we help more men, is with our court program. And our attorneys have been fairly successful as far as getting people stalking injunctions, which are very difficult to have. They're also really successful as far as getting longer term injunctions. A lot of times people will show up wanting to represent themselves. They meet our attorneys, and then the attorneys will help. And then we also are co-located with law enforcement, which I think is one of our most transformational and just such a great community partnership with Orange County Sheriff's Office and with the Orlando PD, and then also APOPCA, where our advocates are co-located in the offices. We read through police reports. We're looking at the different police reports to see if we're seeing a pattern of abuse. We talk to officers about that. And then we also make phone calls to individuals to say, hey, we're here. Here's our phone number if you need help. And so there's a lot of different programs that we have that are doing the work directly with people who are experiencing domestic violence. But then we also have a whole nother project that we have where we're working specifically in the schools, and we're doing prevention work so that we're working with kids when they're younger, that they can understand what are healthy relationships, what are healthy boundaries, and really working to stop domestic violence before it starts, or helping that child break the cycle if they are in a family where domestic violence exists, that they understand that that's not the only option that they have in life. So, yeah.
So much good that you do. I want to ask you a question, because I get asked this question every time we finish a show. I know the answer, but I'd love for your explanation. Why was the pets part of Harbor House so important? In my time, that's a more recent launch. tell people why that's so important to have that availability for people to bring their pets to the shelter.
There's a few different reasons. The number one I would say is that animal abuse is very closely related to domestic violence. And oftentimes animals are the first victims of violence in the home. And then after that, it will sometimes be the child, and then it would be the adult. But often the animals are the first victims. And it's much easier for an abuser to exercise their control over a family pet and use it as intimidation, coercion, and to really hurt the survivor in that way, saying, or even demonstrating that if I can control you and every aspect of you, look at what I'm doing with this animal that you love, our family pet. So that's the biggest part of it. And it's also much easier for abusers to say the dog ran away, even though they might have killed the dog and buried the dog in the backyard. It's much easier to keep somebody under control if they see you make good on a threat. So they could make threats on the individual, but then they take it out on the animal. So the reason why we have the kennel on site is to, one, make sure that someone can come in with their entire family. Some people, they don't have kids and their pets are their family. So we want to make sure that they don't have to leave their family behind. So coming in with the pets. And then we also have what we call the Marvin's Fund, which is basically it is a veterinarian care program. So if we do have pets come in that are injured, we're able to get them the proper veterinary care that they need if they're injured, or we can do preventative medicine with the pets as well. And then the last thing as far as having the pet program on property is the unconditional love and healing that a pet can give to their person. And there is more good stuff that I think that happens in that kennel program as far as people who are really processing their trauma, processing their grief, processing what's going on with them with their animal, which has always given them unconditional love and will continue to. And we have survivors who they come in and their dogs are 14, 15 years old, that they have taken their dogs with them this entire journey of their life. And there's no way they were going to leave their 15-year-old with their abuser. And so that's why we have the program. It's really to make sure that we're keeping the family together. And we know that pets they need to feel, and we're saving their lives, but they're also, by the fact that they're able to come in, they're saving the lives of the survivors as well.
I agree. I've seen it firsthand. It's a beautiful option. It's a beautiful opportunity. A lot of times I just remember personally, not my family, but close family, where they didn't want to leave the pet behind. And back in those days, even if you went to a shelter, there was no room for a pet. Mm-hmm. And so it was actually a deterrent for them leaving.
Yeah.
And so I love that Harbor House allows that. And you understand the beautiful relationship with our fur babies, which is just awesome. All right, so let's talk about Purple Door Luncheon, which is coming up October 12th.
Yes. So Purple Door, it is one of our larger fundraising events. And so we have Pause for Peace, which is for the kennel, but we also have Purple Door Luncheon. And it's a cool celebration, I think, of not just Harbor House, but it's also a lot of our community partners and what it is that they do in our community to help survivors of domestic violence. And so we have Purple Door Luncheon champions. And so we're going to be honoring quite a few amazing champions here in the local community. So we're going to be honoring Mayor Demings. He's been a longtime advocate when it comes to domestic violence, going from being the sheriff and then being our mayor, restarting a lot of the different domestic violence commissions and some of the projects that are coming out of there. We're also going to be honoring the founder of Harbor House. And so Barbara Moore, her daughter's going to be there. We're going to be talking about the fact that here was a woman who started Harbor House almost 48 years ago, and what has happened since then. We're also going to be honoring an attorney who had an amazing idea of, hey, I'm going to all of these different fatality review committees, and I'm hearing that women are losing their lives because they don't have injunctions. And if we can get women and men and survivors an attorney to get an injunction, will we save lives? And her name is Nina Zolo. And so Nina is the reason why there are attorneys all over the state of Florida. So we're going to be honoring people who are doing the work in addition to how we can build each other up and how everybody is an advocate. And that's my favorite part about Purple Door Luncheon is, yes, it's a fundraiser, but it's at the same point in time, knowing that you are someone who's sitting in the room, that you are there to advocate on behalf of yourself, as you've done, Ted, talking about being a childhood survivor and advocating for other young boys so that they don't have to be quiet about it, and other men your age saying, you don't have to be quiet about it, because when we talk about it, that means that we're taking our power back. And also just talking about advocates who you might have someone who's going through it right now, and knowing that we are here to help and support and how we're all in it together. So that's why I like Purple Door. And also being a theater girl, I get to be on stage for a lot of it. No, I'm totally kidding. But I mean, I really do enjoy the message that we have. And like I said, we have an amazing community, and I'm excited about some of the messaging and some of the powerful statements that we're going to be sharing next week at Purple Door.
I'm excited. I love everything that you do. You know, I participate a lot with Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. I just think your organization, Harbor House, just does so much good. If you're not in it or surrounded by it and don't know it, you don't realize how life-changing and life-saving it can be to have a shelter and to have somewhere to go to get out of a situation that could end up in loss of life, and certainly ends up in people's minds. It changes your persona. It changes who you are. It can impact everything you do and who you become as an individual. And if you don't have access to that help and you don't get out of that, and you're constantly in that toxic, abusive, physically and verbally environment, it literally changes you. And so what a blessing to have Harbor House in our community and all the great work you do. All right, Michelle, tell them the best way they can find out more about Harbor House and, of course, about next week's luncheon.
So the best way to find out more about us is to go to harborhousefl.com, to go to our website. You can go there to find out about all of our events, about Harbor House. And then as far as Purple Door is concerned, if you go to Give Help, you can go there and you'll find the event page. You can always follow us on social media. And so we do really utilize Facebook as a good way to get information out there. One thing we're doing new this year that I should definitely bring up is that we normally do a raffle or a prize giveaway is what we normally do at Purple Door. And we're going to be doing a silent auction instead. And so that silent auction is going to be going live tomorrow. And people can bid on it. It is going to be something you don't have to be at the event. You can look at the different things that we have available, and you can just bid that way, or you can just give a gift to be able to help some of the different people that we have that are staying with us currently, or that might be staying with us in the future. So again, just get connected with us. We have lots of different ways that people can be engaged with us all year round, not just in October, not just for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Ted, I mean, you being part of Walk a Mile in Her Shoes has been fantastic. We're going to be doing that again in February. If us talking about the animals and our kennel is something that inspires you, you know, in April is when we do our Pause for Peace Walk. We would love for people to come out. And this year, the theme is going to be sports. So we're excited. We ask people, you know, everybody likes a good theme. And so we are doing a sports theme. We're asking people to dress up and dress their pets up as far as, you know, in different sports outfits. I'm very curious to see what people are going to show up with this year. And there's just a lot of different ways to get engaged with us.
Absolutely. I want you all to get involved. And I also am concerned about the people who are watching. If you are in a situation or know someone who's in a situation, you can go to harborhousefl.com, or is there a phone number that they can call, Michelle?
Yes, you can call or text us. And that phone number is 407-886-2856. And you can call or text that. And
I will post that in the comments. Michelle, thank you so much for all you do, all your team does. I know it's life-saving. I can't stress it enough. I'm just such a giant proponent of everything you do, and you do it with so much love and compassion. And honestly, when you're in that situation, those are the things you need most once you get out of that situation, because you probably haven't felt it in a very long time. So kudos to you guys. Big heart, lots of love for everything that you do. And of course, for you personally, you all get out and get involved, harborhousefl.com, or you can follow them on social media. And I will post the phone number if you are in it or or know someone is, get help. It is right there for you. So thanks, Michelle. Love you. Appreciate you.
Thank
All right.
you.
We'll see you guys soon. Get involved, harborhousefl.com, and go to the Purple Door Luncheon. Register. That's next Wednesday, October 12th.